Hello watch enthusiasts and welcome to another episode of OJ's Take 5. I'm your host OJ Watley, coming to you live and in real time, direct from WuW headquarters here in Hollywood, Florida. So apologies for coming on so late. I'm fresh off of a red eye direct from Steamboat, Colorado, but I have put together a few things for you today. So thank you all for joining me, and it's great to be back. Hope you guys had a great week while I was gone. So today, just wanted to talk about a cool watch that popped into our inventory recently. I think it's kind of a misunderstood watch that not a lot of people really understand all of the functionality, the complications, as well as the simplicity of how to set this watch. So today, without further ado, I'm going to do a little tour, take you through the Rolex Skydweller. This is the 18 karat white gold version, the Rolex Skydweller, reference, what's the reference? 326939 is the reference on this watch. This is the 42 millimeter 18 karat white gold Skydweller with 18 karat white gold bracelet. There it is in the close-up for you. One of the things I really love about this watch is that dial is just so cool. So as much as this is a white gold watch, the dial is sort of this kind of silverized, slight bit of cream, almost like an off-white, but not off-white like a yellow, really just kind of an off-white like a silvery off-white. And then you have those big, bold, white gold Roman numerals going around the dial, which I think adds such a nice touch of elegance, along with that 18 karat white gold fluted bezel. What I really love about this watch is the size. I'm going to throw it on my wrist. Mind you guys, I got a pretty baby wrist, but you know, with my wrist at about 7 1/4, 7 1/3, let's see if we get it in there. I'm going to hold it up to this camera. There we go. I just really like the size of this. It's a nice weight, a nice feel, especially on the bracelet. You really feel like you're wearing something substantial, which is one of the things I really love about this watch. So for those of you that are not aware, the significance of the Skydweller is that it's Rolex's first foray, contemporarily speaking, into an annual calendar watch. And a lot of people look at this watch and they don't quite understand how it can be an annual calendar. So let's go through the dial. So on your dial, you've got your 12 Roman numerals, excluding the crown at 12 o'clock, of course. But you've got your Roman numerals for the hour markers. And then you've got an inner circle with a 24-hour wheel that spins as the minute and the hour hands turn. That is your GMT complication. And in fact, that wheel can be set independent of the time. So if we were talking about the GMT Master versus the GMT Master 2, or the Explorer 2, the original Explorer 2 1655, the big thing about those watches is that they weren't true GMT watches unless you actually used the bezel to track your second time zone. In that, you could not move your 24-hour hand independent from your hour and minute hand. Well, with this watch being in a contemporary release, you can move that 24-hour circle, the ring of numbers, independent from moving the hour and the minute hands. So that's your GMT complication. Then you've got your date at 3 o'clock, of course. Now, a lot of people at this point go, well, I don't understand. Where is the month indication? That's where it gets really cool, and I think fairly ingenious, actually. So with 12 hour markers around the dial, each Roman numeral representing a month, and of course the crown representing the 12th month, there is a little aperture on the top of each Roman numeral that is filled in with silver, except when it's that month it fills in with black. So in this particular watch, this watch is showing that we're in January, being that the Roman numeral 1 has that black dot in it. I'll show you how to set the calendar, and it's pretty cool, but what you'll see is as we go from the 31st to the 1st, you'll see that black aperture fill in silver at the 1 and fill in black at the 2. And that is your annual calendar complication. That's your month indication. And again, I think it's ingenious because it doesn't take up any real estate on the dial. It doesn't make for a cluttered or hard to read dial. And like I said, I think it's just an ingenious way to indicate what month it is. So the neat thing about this watch, and sort of one of the neat complications, is that the bezel, which is a white gold fluted bezel, actually rotates in a bidirectional basis. And depending on how you rotate that bezel or where you stop it, that's how you set the complications and functions of the watch. So let me show you what I'm talking about. If we turn the crown all the way to the in a counterclockwise, I think it's clockwise. Let me just make sure. Sorry. If we turn the bezel, which rotates very smoothly, if we turn that bezel all the way clockwise as far as it goes, it'll click 3 times. And when it clicks 3 times, we're going to unscrew the crown and we're going to pull the crown out. And what you're going to notice is that in this position, when you turn the crown, when you pull the crown out and you turn it, nothing happens. You feel no friction, no resistance, nothing happens. This is sort of like the dummy mode, if you will. It doesn't do anything. Nothing happens in this mode. When you push the crown in, you're just in the winding mode of the watch. So you could certainly wind it in this mode, but that's it. So we push the crown in, and let's see what happens as we turn the crown counterclockwise, 1 turn. So here goes. I'm going to do it right here for you. And there's that click. Okay, so we just turned it counterclockwise by 1 click, and when we pull the crown out, what we see here is when we turn the crown out, if we turn the crown clockwise, it advances the day. Let's make sure, I'm sorry. If we turn the crown clockwise, it reverses the date. And if we turn the crown counterclockwise, it advances the date. Now I want you guys to see what happens when we get to 31. Now if you'll notice that black aperture is filled above the 1. That aperture is filled in with the black dot. And as we get to 31, watch what happens. 28, 29, 30, here goes. See that? As we go from 31 to 1, that wheel underneath the dial spun, and it advanced that black part of the wheel so that it would be showing in the aperture above the 2. So now we're reading that it's February 1st, February 2nd, and I'm just going to go through one more month change for you so you can see what happens. So we're at 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Now this watch assumes every month has 31 days. When we get to 31, boom. Now you're clearly going to have to set this watch on February 28th or on leap year because again it assumes every month has 31 days in it. So one of the small inconveniences you're going to have to deal with in order to have an annual calendar watch from Rolex. So what's neat about this feature, as I mentioned, is you can both reverse the date as well as advance the date. And if you want to reverse the date, it'll even reverse the month for you, which is very uncommon in most annual calendar watches. In fact, turning it backwards will, in a lot of cases, just break the watch. There it was. You just saw that black spot skip from the 2nd to the 1st. So you can go forwards and backwards, which I really like about this watch. Okay, so if we turn the bezel, one more click going counterclockwise, let's see what happens here. So in this position, as we pull the crown out, what we see is that just the hour hand moves in this position. And what's interesting is you could advance the date in this position. I'm sorry, you can't advance. Yeah, you could advance the date in this position, but what you can't do is reverse the date in this position. There is a safety on here that will prevent you from actually reversing the date by moving just the hour hand, but you could advance the date by moving the hour hand. Now, I want you to take note here, while I'm moving the hour hand, nothing else is moving other than the date when I make 2 revolutions. If you notice, that 24-hour ring in the center of the dial is not moving. So a lot of people say, well, how do you set this watch? Again, if we turn this watch one more click counterclockwise and we pull out the crown, what you're going to see is this is the position where just the minute hand moves, and as the minute hand moves, so does the hour hand. Also, as the minute hand and the hour hand moves, you're going to notice that that 24-hour wheel also starts to turn. And so really the way you set this watch is you first set the time using AM and PM, and I always like to set the watch for the day before the actual day, for example. But you set the GMT where you want it first and foremost. Set the date, set the GMT where you want it first and foremost. And then once you have that, obviously you'll set your minute hand to where you want it. And then all you have to do is push the crown in and use those other complications to move just the hour hand to set your actual time. So a real easy watch to set as far as manipulating and setting the date, the month, and the time. And unlike some other annual calendar watches that can take literally 20-30 minutes to set, this watch is very intuitive, almost foolproof, I dare say, super hardy, and a great statement on the wrist. At 42 millimeter and 18 karat white gold, you know you're wearing this watch, and at the same time, it's just a good, solid feel all around. I love this watch. We're asking, the retail on this watch is $48,850. And if I'm not mistaken, we are asking around $32,000 for this watch. Just an absolute amazing deal. Guys, if you love this watch, feel free to call one of our sales associates. We'd love to make you a great deal on this watch. It's a fantastic piece. As you can see from the condition, it looks like it's hardly ever been worn. I mean, literally, this watch is just pristine, pristine. And if I'm not mistaken, it's complete with all the boxes and papers. Call one of our sales associates at 954-961-1445. You can always email sales@watchyouwant.com, or you can email me directly, oj@watchyouwant.com, and we will sell you this watch. Guys, sorry for the shortened episode today. We'll be back on Tuesday with our full-length episode, and I'm hoping to get some good giveaway items as well. As always, thank you so very much for your time, and wear your watches in the best of health. Have a great day.